So give us some color on the event. You were there, Donald Trump and the RNC raising $6 million. Did it feel like there was a pivot, that people are excited about Trump and willing to put their money where their mouth is?
Yeah, people were very excited. It was really a great event. You know, there were people there who had supported Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Scott Walker, Carly Fiorina, Ted Cruz, and it was nice. I think everybody felt great to finally be in the same room and be supporting the same candidate. So I think there was a lot of energy. Mr. Trump did a great job at the event. Overall, it was very, very positive.
What's your takeaway from this, Governor Huckabee?
Well, I think it shows that the Republicans are rallying around Donald Trump, and that includes the financial donors. There's been this concern that there wasn't. You know, I think, but it's pretty clear, Andy, that what you're seeing there in California, what you saw at that event, was indicative that people want to win, and they know that Donald Trump gives them the best shot of doing that, and he can beat Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm absolutely convinced Donald Trump will raise enough money to be very competitive with Hillary Clinton. He's also changed the rules, Governor, as you know. It's now the way he uses social media, the way he really, I want to say manipulates the media, but the way he really gets media attention has really changed the rules on how you run a campaign. So he's going to have money, and he's going to have that personality where people want to see him. And Hillary Clinton's not going to have that. So he's going to have I think he's going to have a big advantage in this respect.
Andy, it's Dagan McDowell. I want to know, like, privately, the conversations you've had with fellow businessmen and women in terms of if anybody was hesitant about supporting Donald Trump. What conversations have you had with them to change their minds?
Well, you know, a lot of people, if you were at all involved in politics over the past 8-10 years, you probably knew somebody in this race. There were 16 people on that stage, or 17 initially, and you probably knew one of those people, probably liked him and were supportive. So it was a very, very difficult cycle for people. But I think the best way I can characterize this, I think the most impressive thing, the most refreshing thing about Donald Trump is that working class Americans don't resent him, they don't envy him, they don't think he's an evil billionaire. They see him as successful, and they want to be like him in that they want to be successful. And, you know, that's the America I grew up in. That's the America I remember. That's an America I would defend and take risks to defend. And I think people are coming in contact with what the working class really understood right from the beginning, that we need change, and this is a person who can lead us to a better place. So
I totally agree.
I think you're really seeing a different sense.
Yeah, I think that there's an aspirational message here.
Sure. That was articulated better than...
He's rich, I want to be rich. He's successful, I want to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, Andy, I think the missing piece of the puzzle for some people is there are things that he said that are being construed as racist or xenophobic, misogynistic. Is this sort of a gap that you see this candidate looking to fill, reaching out more? We had some Muslim Republicans on earlier who talked about their support for Donald Trump and how they hoped he would reach out more to the supportive American Muslim community. Is this something you see as part of his activities going forward?
Yeah, I think Donald Trump will reach a broad spectrum of voters. You know, even if you think back to the last cycle, and, you know, Mitt Romney's a wonderful man. I love Mitt. He's a great guy. He would have been a great president. But, you know, you wish he wouldn't have made the comment about the 47%. You wish he wouldn't have talked about self-deportation. And he did talk about China as a currency manipulator. So these kinds of comments have been made in the past. Donald Trump has a way of conveying his message that's so forceful, I think it draws attention to the message. And if you know people who knew him in New York, and I do not know Mr. Trump well, but if you talk to people who knew him in New York, he is not a racist, he is not prejudiced against women or Muslims, that he's a very honest businessman and deals with people in a very forthright way. So I think that'll start to come across. I hope it starts to come across, and I think he'll do very well in that respect.
Andy, I want to ask you about the minimum wage, because we had the former CEO of McDonald's on last week. But before I get to that, the number of $1 billion has been thrown around as far as the money that Donald Trump needs to raise. Is that what you think he needs to raise to compete effectively with Hillary Clinton, or is it less than that? And I know a minute ago you said you think he will be able to raise a lot of money. What is that number?
You know, I don't know what this guy has broken every rule. I mean, if it were any of the other candidates, I would say we need $1 billion. But with Donald Trump, you know, I just don't know. And I've been so wrong in this
Right.
cycle so far. I hate to take any guesses, but I think he can do very, very well with less than $1 billion. Could you imagine this Mr. Trump with $1 billion and his social media presence? I think it'd be amazing.
It would be unbelievable. All right, so former McDonald's USA CEO Ed Renzi was on the program last Tuesday. He said purchasing $35,000 robots would be cheaper than hiring individuals and paying them $15 an hour for minimum wage. Listen to this.
It's cheaper to buy a $35,000 robotic arm than it is to hire an employee who's inefficient, making $15 an hour, bagging French fries. It's nonsense, and it's very destructive. It's inflationary, and it's going to cause a job loss across this country like you're not going to believe.
What do you think, Andy? Job losses like we're not going to believe as $15 minimum wage takes a hold across the country?
Yeah, you're seeing automation across a very broad spectrum. You see it in banks with ATMs, gas stations, airports, grocery stores. So automation is coming. The question is, should we be implementing policies that make low-skilled, working-class Americans more expensive than the job that they're taking justifies? In other words, it costs more to hire them than that job produces in benefit for the employer. When that's the case, employers don't hire people. So there's absolutely no doubt that raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour is going to result in very significant job losses. The CBO said at Congressional Budget Office said at $10 an hour, you'd lose 500,000 jobs. Well, nobody wants to see 500,000 people put out of work, particularly as the working class is trying to, they need to be educated, they need to be trained so they can deal with this new economy, they can deal with automation. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to make the situation worse than it is. And when you make employing somebody more expensive than automating a position, you're going to get more automation. I think Ed's absolutely right.
All right.